You know how we're always told to be careful about what we share online?
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into
Right.
how much information social media and tech companies actually gather on us.
Okay.
Probably way more than you think.
It really is fascinating
Yeah.
and a little unsettling how much data is collected without us even realizing it.
Exactly. We've got some sources here that break down the different types of data these companies collect.
Yeah.
And it goes way beyond the basics. I mean, yeah, they obviously get our names, birthdays, contact info, that kind of
Right. It goes so much deeper.
deeper.
They're tracking our online behavior in incredible detail. Everything from the links we click on
Yeah.
and the people we interact with
Oh, wow.
to how long we spend watching a video, it's all being recorded.
So it's not just what we actively share, it's also how we behave online.
Exactly. They're building a detailed profile
Okay.
of our habits, preferences, and even our emotions based on our online activity.
Okay, that started to feel a little creepy.
Yeah,
But the sources also talk about something even more surprising.
right.
The collection of sensitive data. What exactly does that include?
We're talking about things like biometric data,
Okay.
which includes fingerprints and facial recognition data.
Really?
They're also collecting information about our religious beliefs,
Wow.
political opinions,
No way.
even our relationship statuses.
Wow, that's information many people wouldn't even share with their closest friends.
Right.
Why are they collecting this kind of sensitive data?
It all boils down to one thing:
What's that?
money.
Money, huh?
This data is incredibly valuable to advertisers.
I see.
The more they know about us, the more effectively they can target us with personalized ads.
So they're using our data to manipulate our purchasing decisions.
In a way, yes, by understanding our individual preferences.
Mhm.
They can tailor marketing campaigns to appeal directly to our desires and fears.
Mm.
It's about influencing our behavior, not just informing us.
The sources use the term hyper-personalized advertising, which sounds like it takes this to a whole new level.
Absolutely. Think about it. You're scrolling through your social media feed
Okay.
and you see an ad for a product you were just thinking about.
Yep.
That's not a coincidence.
Wow.
That's hyper-personalized advertising at work.
It's almost like they're reading our minds.
Right.
But, the sources also point out
Yeah.
that we become almost dumb to this data collection.
Mm-hmm.
We just click agree to those long, complicated terms and conditions without really thinking about it.
There's a sense that we've traded privacy for convenience.
Yeah.
We want these free services and personalized experiences,
Right.
and we're willing to give up our data to get them.
It's like we've accepted this idea that our data is the price we pay for using the internet.
Exactly, and that's a dangerous mindset.
Right.
Because it allows these companies to operate in the shadows, collecting vast amounts of data without true transparency or accountability.
Wow. It's crazy to think about all this data being gathered, in the background, especially when it goes beyond just our social media activity.
You're absolutely right. The sources highlight this practice called web scraping,
Yeah, web scraping.
which really drives home the point that our data is being collected even when we're not directly interacting with social media.
You mentioned that term earlier, and I have to admit, it sounds kind of shady.
Yeah.
Can you break it down for us? Like, what exactly does web scraping involve?
Think of it like this.
Okay.
Companies use automated tools to scan websites and pull out huge amounts of information.
Hmm.
It's like a digital vacuum cleaner, sucking up data from all corners of the internet. And that data can include our names, addresses, phone numbers, even our social media posts, all without us knowing it's happening.
Okay, that's seriously creepy. But how do they actually use this scraped data? Like, what's the point of gathering all this information?
Well, it's a valuable resource for a variety of purposes. Some companies use it for market research, analyzing trends, and identifying potential customers.
Uh-huh.
Others use it to build databases for targeted advertising or even to train artificial intelligence algorithms.
The sources brought up a specific example that really caught my eye. This case involving a company called KHPR.
Right.
Can you tell us more about that?
KSPR was a data analytics company
Okay.
that scraped billions of data points from social media profiles,
Wow.
including names, locations, relationship statuses, and even political affiliations.
Really?
This raised huge concerns about privacy and data security because this information was collected without the consent of the individuals involved.
Yeah, that's a pretty clear example of how data collection can go too far.
Right.
What were the consequences for KSPR? Did they face any repercussions for their actions?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They were investigated by privacy regulators and ultimately shut down for violating data protection laws. This case serves as a cautionary tale about the potential misuse of personal data and the importance of holding companies accountable.
It makes you wonder how many other companies are engaging in similar practices without being detected. It's like a hidden world of data collection that we're mostly oblivious to.
And it goes beyond web scraping.
Oh, really?
We encounter data collection every day in more subtle ways. Think about those cookies that pop up on almost every website we visit.
Oh yeah, cookies. We all know about them, but I'll be honest, I don't really understand what they're doing. Can you demystify cookies for us?
Sure. Cookies are small files that websites place on our computers
Okay.
to track our online activity.
Hmm.
They record which pages we visit, what we click on, and even what we add to our shopping carts.
Okay.
This information helps companies personalize our browsing experience,
Right.
but it also allows them to build a detailed profile of our interests and behaviors.
So cookies are like tiny spies following us around the internet and reporting back on everything we do.
That's a pretty accurate analogy.
Wow.
And the thing is, most of us just accept cookies without giving it much thought. We click accept all without reading the fine print or considering the potential implications for our privacy.
I know I'm guilty of that. It's like we're so used to seeing those cookie banners that we just tune them out.
Right.
But what about all those free apps and services we use? Are they collecting data on us too?
Absolutely. The sources emphasize that if a service is free, you are likely the product.
Hmm.
Your data is the currency you're paying to access those seemingly free apps and services.
That ties back to what we were talking about earlier with the illusion of free services.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
We think we're getting something for nothing, but in reality, we're giving up valuable personal information in exchange.
Exactly. And it's not just about targeted advertising.
No.
This data can be used for a variety of purposes, some of which might surprise you.
Like what? Give us some examples of how our data might be used in, unexpected ways.
Well, for one, it can be used to predict our future behavior.
Really?
By analyzing our past choices and patterns, companies can make educated guesses about what we're likely to do next. This can be used to influence our decisions from what products we buy to who we vote for.
That's both fascinating and a little scary. It feels like they're losing control of our own destinies.
Right.
But the sources also talk about the more immediate risks of unchecked data collection.
Right.
What are some of the potential dangers we should be aware of?
One major concern is cybersecurity.
Okay.
These vast databases of personal information become prime targets for hackers.
Yeah.
Data breaches are becoming increasingly common, putting our sensitive information at risk of identity theft, financial fraud, and other forms of cybercrime.
The sources also mentioned a lack of transparency and consent as a major issue.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. One of the biggest problems is that we often don't know what data is being collected, how it's being used, or who it's being shared with. There's a lack of transparency from these companies, and we're often asked to consent to vague terms and conditions without truly understanding what we're agreeing to.
Like we're signing away our digital rights without even realizing it. And the sources also talk about the potential for data to be used for manipulation and the spread of misinformation. How does that work?
Think about the algorithms that control what we see on social media.
Okay.
These algorithms are designed to show us content that we're likely to engage with,
Yeah.
but this can create filter bubbles,
Filter bubbles.
where we're only exposed to information that confirms our existing biases.
Oh, wow.
This makes us more susceptible to manipulation and propaganda, as we're less likely to encounter opposing viewpoints.
So it's not just about annoying ads anymore. It's about the potential impact on our beliefs, our values, and even our democracy. It feels like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
On the one hand, we have all these amazing technological advancements that make our lives easier and more connected.
Right.
But on the other hand, we're facing this growing threat to our privacy and autonomy.
You've hit the nail on the head. The key question is, how do we balance the benefits of technology with the need to protect our fundamental rights?
Right.
How do we create a digital future where we can enjoy the convenience and connectivity of the internet without sacrificing our privacy and freedom?
It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But the sources do offer some practical advice on how we can take control of our data and protect ourselves online.
Absolutely. It starts with awareness. The more we understand about how data is collected and used, the better equipped we'll be to make informed choices about our online behavior.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
And it's clear that data collection is a complex issue with serious implications. But it's not all doom and gloom, right?
Right.
What can we actually do to protect ourselves in this data-driven world?
You're right. It's not about living in fear
Right.
or disconnecting from the digital world altogether. It's
Right.
about being informed and empowered.
Empowered, yeah.
The sources offer some practical steps we can take
Okay.
to safeguard our data and reclaim some control over our digital lives.
That's what I was hoping to hear. I'm all ears. Give us the rundown on what we can actually do to protect ourselves.
Well, it starts with those privacy settings we often ignore.
Uh-huh.
Take some time to review
Okay.
and customize the privacy settings on your social media accounts
Right.
and other online platforms. You might be surprised at how much information you're unknowingly sharing.
Okay, so dive into those settings and see what's what. What else?
Think before you post,
Okay.
especially when it comes to sensitive information.
Okay.
Do you really need to share your location, your relationship status, or your political views with the entire world?
Right.
The less you share publicly, the less data you're putting out there for companies to collect.
It's like a digital version of loose lips sink ships, right?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
And speaking of security,
Yeah.
enable two-factor authentication wherever
You
possible.
factor.
This adds an extra layer of protection to your accounts, making
Okay.
it much harder for hackers to gain access, even if they steal your password.
I've heard of two-factor authentication, but I'm not sure I fully understand how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Can you, break it down for us?
Sure. Basically, it means that you need two things to log into your account, your password,
Uh-huh.
and a second piece of information, usually a code sent to your phone or email.
Oh, okay.
This way, even if someone gets hold of your password, they can't access your account without that second factor.
So it's like having a double lock on your digital door.
Right.
What other tips do you have for, staying safe online?
Be wary of suspicious links and emails.
Okay.
Phishing scams are becoming increasingly sophisticated, so don't click on anything that looks even remotely questionable.
Okay.
And be cautious about downloading files from untrusted sources. It's always better to err on the side of caution when it comes to your digital security.
So basically, a healthy dose of skepticism is a good thing in the digital age.
Exactly.
Don't just blindly trust everything you see online.
Think critically about the information you're consuming, and don't be afraid to question the source. And remember, your data is valuable, treat it with respect, and don't give it away freely.
It's been a real eye-opener, this deep dive into the world of data collection. We've learned about the sheer scale of data gathering, the motivations behind it, and the potential risks involved. But we've also talked about practical steps we can take to protect ourselves.
That's the key takeaway. Knowledge is power. The more we understand about how our data is being used, the better equipped we'll be to make informed choices about our online behavior. It's not about being paranoid, it's about being proactive.
Well said. So to our listeners out there, remember, you're not just a passive consumer in this digital world. You have a voice, and you have choices. Be aware, be critical, and take control of your data. Until next time, happy diving.